this is a highly anticipated show. People are excited for this. Obviously, we know why. The first wave of reviews for The Penguin have been counted, and a Rotten Tomato score has now been generated. What is it, and how does it compare to The Batman? Here is the answer. The review embargo for The Penguin lifted earlier today, and that means that we now have an all-important Rotten Tomatoes score for the HBO Max series. The Batman spinoff was originally conceived as the first of a slate of Max executive TV shows set in the Matt Reeves Batverse. Projects set in the GCPD and Arkham Asylum didn't pan out, leaving The Penguin to bridge the gap between The Batman and The Batman 2. As we write this, The Penguin sits at 91% based on 32 reviews. From what we can tell, the vast majority of critics were given access to the entire 8-episode season. With that in mind, it's unlikely to be a bait and switch akin to Secret Invasion, which dipped massively in quality after the first 2 installments were offered for a review. For context, The Batman is certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes with an 85% score, while Gotham, which also explored the Penguin's origin story, sits at 77 based on 5 seasons. We don't know whether they'll plan this for the Penguin to get a second season, particularly when DC Studios has its own DCU plans. Elseworlds or not, these rival projects do interfere with to some extent. After all, James Gunn, who attempted to incorporate the Arkham set series mentioned above into the DCU, faces the challenge of releasing The Brave and the Bold around the same time as The Batman 2. Comparisons and creative overlaps will surely be inevitable. Let's just stick with The Penguin here, Winston, and this is another story that I covered yesterday, and we're talking about, is that they asked Colin Farrell if he wanted to come back, and he said, look, I love playing this character, but I don't want to sit in 4 hours of makeup anymore. I don't really want, it's like I've sat around saying, he's like, look, I'll admit, I was a pain in the ass bitching at whoever would listen to me because it was just so hard to do. Now, what I also said to counter that is, let's see what A, the reviews are on the show, B, what the ratings are like, and see how much money they offer him to do another season before he's going to say, I don't want to do it anymore. So that all can change on his perspective. The thing that landed for me was that the same reason this whole thing started in the first place is that James Gunn wants to take care of the stuff he's taking care of. He was going to greenlight Joker 2 and make sure Joker 2 went through because it's going to make a ton of money for the studio, so it'd be stupid to cancel that. The Batman had just come out and people loved it and wanted to see more, so he's like, okay, we'll do Elseworlds with it. We know that has a chance for success. Let him do his second movie. Let him do his third. They were supposed to do an Arkham Asylum thing. That didn't happen. They're supposed to do more. The season 2 will potentially still happen if the ratings are as good and if they can get Colin Farrell back. But it will start to phase out eventually because it will conflict with what Gunn's trying to do. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I think it will. Honestly, I feel. We've expressed that people can potentially separate things out one way or the other, but I almost feel like once the ball really starts to get rolling with the Batman that is meant to be in Gunn's universe, it either needs to be so drastically different than people can tell, or you almost need to get ready to wrap that up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I don't know if you want to fully extend that out. I agree with you as far as Colin Farrell saying I'm not going to do it again. If he gets all the awards and all the money, that is, unless he's like, I'm starting to ramp down my career, which, and I don't think he necessarily, because like Jim Carrey, for example, has said that he's done with Hollywood. The exception is Robotnik, because he actually really enjoys that film. He loves doing it for the little ones in his family. And that role brings him a lot of joy, but he is done with Hollywood. He's made that very clear.
He's doing Sonic 3, but still.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, Robotnik is the only thing that he will do.
He'll do things here and there, but like, but this is different. This is recency bias of somebody who is just like, it's traumatizing to have to sit in a chair for 4 hours looking like that and having to act like that. I mentioned this on yesterday's show. I was a big Sopranos guy, as you know, and I was watching the David Chase documentary, and they were talking about like James Gandolfini and just being the lead of a show in general and all the stuff that you have to do in the range of emotions, how it's just taking that home with you all the time. Well, couple that, being a lead with the show, of wearing extensive makeup to be in a chair for 4 hours, plus to go, and this is not like a funny, lighthearted, he's not playing Fat Bastard from Austin Powers here. He's playing, you know what I mean? He's like, you can have fun in that. He's probably still a pain in the ass, but at least you're laughing and goofing around. This is a mob story where you're going to have to go in dark places.
And that the difference was he had a substantial role in the Batman, but he wasn't the focus. So like you probably had all of maybe 2 weeks at most on set for that movie. versus shooting an entire season of or limited series, I think is what he wants, but shooting an entire season of this in those process. Oh my God. Like I honestly can't imagine what that does to your psyche. Like you said, both the actual performance and the chair. So the 4 hours to then go and be a piece of shit.
Yep. I hear
That,
you. Yep.
and then you know what I'm saying? Every day, man. So I get it. It is something that can take a toll on you. And I don't blame him if he really is serious about it. But I think if enough accolades, enough money comes his direction, that he would probably reconsider.
Of course. Yeah, that's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer. But it's a matter of, I think the James Gunn side of it is where, you know, in the long run, how long does it stick around? 2 seasons, 3 seasons, maybe 2 leading into the Batman. So that makes sense. All right, sticking with DC.